Time now for the Bercich Breakdown, and in order to have Bercich break it down, we have to bring in Pete Bercich, who joins us now. And Pete, what a roller coaster ride Viking fans went on in that opener. You remember when we talked last week, we said if the Vikings win and McCarthy's great, we're going to the Super Bowl. And if he loses, Viking fans will want Aaron Rodgers' cell phone number and start calling him immediately. Well, I think they did both in that game. First half, they were trying to call somebody to take over a quarterback. And then after the game, we've got people setting out lawn chairs on the side of the road for the Super Bowl parade, so they get a good spot to view it.
Yeah, he's a young quarterback, so you're going to have your ups and your downs. And early on in the game, we couldn't get anything done on third down, and that's obviously a money down, a very important down, and you're not going to be able to extend drives when you can't do that. But the plays that he was able to make in the second half, really give you hope that this offense can build and continue to be very powerful. And the thing that struck me watching it was just the Bears and what they were doing defensively. I mean, that's a 70% passing game for Kevin O'Connell normally. I mean, he normally would have wanted to pick that all apart through the air. But again, young quarterback, can't carry the play load yet. And
so you think
they were prudent about that.
So you think he backed it down to start the game? You think O'Connell?
He backed it down. I mean, there's no way that JJ's carrying the entire. The game plan itself is just based on different things. Okay, in my opinion, this is just my opinion now.
Right.
The running game is more predominant, and we saw some results with that in the second half, especially like in the fourth quarter. Jordan Mason doing a fantastic job, averaging 8 yards a carry, I think, in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a successful. That's a definite way to success. But it's just not. It's just not the same down the field passing game that we've seen. Now, could we see it this week? I don't know. Maybe we might start. I don't know. But you have Justin Jefferson. You got to find a way to get him down the field and take some attempts at him down the field, because that's what he does. That's what he's all about. Hopefully we'll start seeing some more of that. But I just didn't see it as a game plan that was as quarterback heavy. Let's just say it that way. That was as quarterback heavy as some of the game plans that we've seen out of Coach O'Connell over the last couple of seasons.
All right. Something that really caught my eye was the post-game comments from the players, especially Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson, how they said that he comes in after throwing the pick six, some huddle later in the game, and he tells them all, there's nowhere else you guys would rather be, right? Or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm. Where else would you rather be?
Yeah, and it just lit a fire under them. And I'm surprised that they're National Football League players. They've been in this league for X amount of years. And just a quip like that kind of snapped everybody back to focusing on where we are and what's sitting in front of us here if we can finish this thing off.
Well, and how, whether or not that was him just being himself, or maybe it was a little more calculated. You think about Joe Montana in the Super Bowl when he pointed out John Candy in the stands right before the game-winning drive. I mean, quarterbacks have been known to do that in the past. Either way, he has to be himself, and this just doing that, being that way. Letting everybody know that the game's not too big, that he's got this, that we'll get there. We're all going to do it together. It changes things, and guys remember that stuff. And we've said it on this show a few times, is that the great ones, they all have something kind of special about them, right? There's something about them that brings out the best of those around them. Like, those offensive linemen aren't playing just to keep their job, right, and get a paycheck. I mean, they're blocking and doing what they do because they care about the guys behind them, right? They want to succeed. And I think JJ kind of brings that into light. It's a lot easier to play your ass off for a guy who's like that than someone who's going to either not say a word or jump on you or just start. Who knows what he could have done? Criticizing the D-line. Hey, you guys give me some time here, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it's great to hear. You love those stories, and the legend, I guess the legend begins.
So did you, I know obviously you're on the other side of the ball, but were there ever moments like that for you with the defensive guys in a huddle waiting to go? Was there something somebody said, or do you remember an occasion where something was said, somebody got everybody pumped up, and all of a sudden it turned on a dime?
Jim, you got to remember I played and I was in a huddle with John Randall.
I know that's
so
why I want a John Randall story right here.
We just let Johnny do that, right? and our job, the rest of it was just get everybody lined up right and then let him do his thing. Defense is a little bit different because it's all communication after the play call, right? It's like for the offense, the huddle is there, then you get the play call and you go out, but defensively you get a very quick defensive call, and then you start communicating about everything else that's going on down and distance and where everybody's lining up and all that. So I think it's a little bit different over there.
Okay.
There's not as much time in the huddle to be able to talk about stuff because you don't dictate when the ball gets snapped. The offense does, so you have to be ready as quickly as possible. Well, so maybe a little bit different, but yeah, I mean, there wasn't much outside of letting Johnny just do his thing, right? You just kind of piggyback off that energy, baby. You just let You may even want to poke him a little bit and say, "Hey, that guard keeps telling me he's got you. What's going on with that?" Right? And then you whatever, go about your business. But
then you just move over to the other side.
Yeah, it's like your brain. That's the funny thing about it is like your brain is so dialed into the game and what's going on and what's next that you don't really ever get the chance to stop and look around and think about really what the hell's going on. It's just boom, 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 and maybe during a TV timeout or something, you get a chance to think, stand around and look and actually think about it. Like at the NFC Championship game, and you're like, geez, this is for the Super Bowl. But you can't, on a play-by-play basis, you can't think like that.
Right. All right.
Anyway.
We'll get to the Falcons in a second. Well, this does kind of lead to the Falcons, but Blake Cashman, Kevin O'Connell has said now that he's going to miss significant time. What does that do? Eric Wilson stepped up and was great in the game when he came in to sub in for him. Do you see him being the guy moving forward, or do you see other alterations that Brian Flores could do to? Because when Blake was out last year, that was when the team perhaps had their worst stretch defensively without him on the field. Yeah,
they did. They struggled, but I think after the lessons learned from last year, Eric Wilson will probably be that guy. He's a veteran. He's been around a long time. He's very good in pass coverage. Has great instincts. I think that's one of the most underrated parts of Cashman's game is just his ability to handle the underneath zone, get a feel for the tight ends and all those things. So Wilson does a great job of that. So I would assume that that's the direction they're going to go. Last year, they experimented with Dallas Turner off the ball a little bit. We saw a little bit of Van Ginkel being off the ball, and I know he's in concussion protocol right now. I wonder when that happened because I saw him try to jump to block a pass, and the old lineman,
cartwheeled,
out, and he landed right on top of his head. So I wonder if that's the play or not. Not that anything about that was illegal. That's just how offensive linemen keep you from jumping up in the air and putting your hands up, right? It's part of the game. And they experimented with him a little bit last year, but I think the learning the lessons and seeing what happened, there was more to it than just Cashman being gone, right? Patrick Jones playing defensive end against the Rams team that wanted to run the football. There were other things that I think caused the team to go 0-2 over that stretch. But I think that Wilson's the best answer.
All right. Now, following this video, if you watch on YouTube, we have a thumbnail link that'll take you to Pete's Eye in the Sky, his YouTube channel, where he can show you the plays and break down what's ahead for the Vikings. Falcons come in here, another primetime matchup, Sunday Night Football. And this will be J.J. McCarthy going against one of his classmates in the draft class, Michael Penix Jr. What did you see out of Penix last week? What do you expect this Sunday night against the Vikings?
Penix he looked really good. A lot of short passing game, a lot of pistol, three-step kind of rhythm, quick passing game. A lot of some empty, spread the field out. But he makes good decisions. He's very strong-armed and he's accurate. So I was pretty impressed by what they put on him to do offensively and what he was able to do. With London as one of his wide receivers, he has some talent. And the other interesting part is what they're doing now with Bijan Robinson is they're not just, he was one of the most efficient running backs in the league a year ago. Atlanta ran the zone as well as anybody in the league, but gone are a number of those linemen up front. And so they're taking Bijan and putting him out and flexing him out at wide receiver, kind of like what we're doing with Aaron Jones. In fact, he had a 50-some yard touchdown reception on a play that really should have probably have gone to one of the receivers running a crossing route, but he just dumped it off to the running back, and then Robinson makes a move and a couple guys miss, and away he goes. So they're trying to get their athletes the ball in space, and so in that regard, I think he's managing things well. And he had one heck of a 2-minute drive. It was about 50-some seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. He had 7 plays that he ran, and first one was a scramble, and then the next couple throws were right on the money. So here's another young guy who's responding to be at your best when your best is required. Well, I think Penix showed a lot of that in that game against Tampa Bay.
So are those the ones you're going to look at? Or are those the ones that will be in your YouTube video?
And I guess that's part of the whole process with the videos is just you formulate opinions about teams, and you do that not by necessarily reading what people write, but you watch the film. And this is kind of the exercise, right? You watch the film, you remember what stands out to you, and then you kind of put it together. They're having problems protecting the quarterback. They're having problems with Penix, mainly with their right tackle, and I don't think their center can hold up. And then you sit there and you go, okay, well, Javon Hargrave had a couple of really, really good plays, a week ago.
Right.
So I expect Javon Hargrave to really have a great day, especially in the pass rush against this offensive line, is specifically the center. And then both of our whoever's playing outside linebacker on the one side, be it Van Ginkel or
Grenard.
Who else? But Grenard, I expect Grenard to have a big day.
Okay.
I expect Grenard, and the sad part is the defense should have sacked Caleb Williams had he not. If Caleb Williams wasn't so good at scrambling and such a great athlete, they probably would have had 4 or 5 sacks that game,
right,
against the Chicago Bears.
Well, I wanted to circle back to that quickly, Pete. It seemed like in that first half, especially the first drive, they were going for the sacks. Like they were after him with everything they had. And it seemed like they figured out this rabbit is too fast for us to corral. So let's just keep him in the pocket and let him try to beat us with his arm. Did you see that at all? Did you see a change in their rush lanes and how they looked at it? Or am I being too simplistic like I normally am?
No. It's about it here. I guess there's the difference in a nutshell between, let's say, how you would, try to pressure or pass rush a Kirk Cousins as compared to a Caleb Williams, right? Kirk Cousins is going to be 5 to 7 to 9 yards behind the center, right? He may roll out or bootleg once in a while, but he's not going anywhere. So you can run different types of line games. You can involve more people. You don't have to be as conservative. You can take an edge and be a little more risky as far as that goes, because the quarterback's not going anywhere. And don't forget, this is the first game of the year, and really the first time that they played against most of them are even out there. But against New England, they definitely didn't see this type of mobility out of the quarterback. And the part that's a shame is that you would do a blitz up the middle or run a game in the middle and get pressure up the middle, which is great. But when you do that, the defensive ends or whomever ends up having contain, you let the blitz do its thing and let the quarterback get flushed to you, right? It's like, like bird hunting. You let the dogs or whatever, you let them flush the bird to you, and then you do your thing. And so many times it was they got him out of the pocket. They got him off his initial keys, which is a problem I think Caleb's going to be battling the rest of the year. I think it's a remnant of the 68 times he was sacked a year ago. You can get him off his progression pretty quickly just by getting somebody in his face. The problem is we were not disciplined in the pass rush lanes, and Caleb Williams is a little bit better of an athlete than I think they were ready for in that regard. And that's, again, probably just from not being on the field.
All right. Lastly for you, just the way this Falcons team is constructed. Do the Vikings have to change anything, or do they just have to be themselves, dictate how the game is played, both with their offensive play calling and with the defense?
I was impressed by their defense, especially they have Mike Hughes at one of their cornerbacks, but their safeties are both pretty darn good. One of them, I can't remember his name, number 31. They almost had 2 interceptions in that game. My point is they're pretty physical up front defensively. They have Ellis at linebacker, Diablo at the other side, some physical, fast, running linebackers. So this isn't a game I think where either offense is going to be up and down the field. This could probably be a low-scoring affair. My point is, if the offense isn't rolling from snap number 1, be patient, all right? Again, young quarterback. They got a pretty good defense, which I think looked better. Then they kind of surprised me in that regard. I think the opportunity is there for our defense to really shut down Michael Penix just because of some of the problems that they're having up front. I do believe they'll go back and let Bijan be out of the backfield a lot more. They've been using Algiers quite a bit as a running back. I think they're going to maybe try to run the football a little bit more, being on the road, that whole thing. So in that regard, you still have to start with stopping the run with this Falcon team. But their defense, especially the back end of that defense, I thought was played pretty well against Tampa Bay. This could be a low-scoring game.
All right. Pete, thank you for the time. Be sure to go to his YouTube page, Eye in the Sky, and you can get more on the Falcons, including video breakdown. Pete will join us, well, of course, on Vikings Game Day Live on Fox 9. That is Sunday morning. And then Sunday night, right after the game, I know you have to watch it on another channel, but then flip back here, come home to Fox. Pete will join us from the stadium, and we'll have a whole hour of post-game, including the press conferences from the coach. Join us every Wednesday. We'll try to get this out there Wednesday nights, Thursday morning, and we'll marry it to Pete's video so you can get set for Vikings football coming up this week. Pete, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Jim.
It's always great to tap into that knowledge. Remarkable how you have so much knowledge up there.
Game 2, here we go. Let's go.
All right.
That's the season, baby.
All righty. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.